Dear students, welcome to Rama's Eduzone, your favorite destination for learning English. For more,
Dear students, today we are going to learn about Journey to the End of the Earth by Tishani Doshi. And this chapter revolves around the world's most preserved place, Antarctica. Not many people have been there, but out of the few that have, Tishani Doshi is one of them. A South Indian person who went on an expedition called Student on Ice program, and she went along with a group of teenagers like her age. That program, which takes young minds to different ends of the world. It gives an insight into how Antarctica is the place you should visit to have a glimpse of the past, present, and the future in its realist form. This chapter, the lesson refers to the manner in which geological phenomena enables us to trace the history of mankind. It also tells us about the way in which land masses and countries are formed. The writer, Teshani Doshi, emphasizes on the impact of human endeavor to dominate nature. It should be realized that exploration of this landmass under the ice cap will certainly reveal valuable information of our planet and its association with the solar system and the galactic evolution. Let us know the background. Writer Tishani Doshi belonged to South India, and for her, traveling to Antarctica from Madras, it took 9 time zones, 6 checkpoints, 3 water bodies, and just as many ecospheres to reach there. Tishani Doshi traveled to southern end of the earth along with an expedition group named Students on Ice that provides opportunity to the young minds to sensitize toward the realistic version of climatic changes happening in the world. According to the founder of the organization, we are the young versions of future policy makers who can turn the situation around. Antarctica is one of the coldest, driest, and windiest continent in the world as far as the eyes can see. It is completely white and its uninterrupted blue horizon gives immense relief. It is shocking and it looks quite unbelievable to know that India and Antarctica were part of the same supercontinent known as Gondwana that got segregated into countries giving rise to the globe as we know today. Before going further, let us know the meanings of few words. Ecospheres, part of the universe habitable by living organisms. Expansive, covering wide area in terms of space or scope. Profound, very great or intense. Isolation means separation. Landmass refers to a continent or other large body of the land. Supercontinent, a former large continent from which other continents are held to have broken off and drifted away. Thrived, it means to prosper, to flourish. It is shocking to believe that India and Antarctica were part of the same supercontinent Gondwana that got segregated into countries giving rise to the globe we know today. Antarctica had a warmer climate until then, despite human civilization around the globe, it still remains in its pure form. Being a South Indian sun worshipping person, it was unimaginable for the author to visit the place that constitutes world's 90% of ice. A place so quiet that it is only interrupted by snow avalanches. It is home to a lot of evidence that can give us a glimpse of the past, and at the same time, Antarctica helps us foresee the future. The place gives an awakening to threatening alarm that global warming is actually real. Who knows if Antarctica will be warm again? And even if it does, will we be alive to see it? So now we are having a picture on our screen that is Gondwana land. 650 million years ago, a giant amalgamated southern supercontinent Gondwana did exist. It was centered roughly around the present day Antarctica. Things were quite different then. Humans had not arrived on the global scene, and the climate was much warmer, hosting a huge variety of flora and fauna. For about 500 million years, Gondwana thrived. But around the time when the dinosaurs were wiped out and the age of the mammals got underway, the landmass was forced to separate into countries, shaping the globe much as we know it today. So it was a supercontinent known as Gondwana. It existed millions of years ago, from which Antarctica and India are supposed to have been parted off. The situation, however, was completely different from how it is right now. There were no humans and the climate was warmer, which gave rise to huge varieties of flora and fauna. Gondwana land flourished for 500 million years until dinosaurs got extinct and beings came into existence. The huge continent was then forced into separation to form countries and the world as we know it today. According to the author, if one wants to have a glimpse of history and from where we have originated along with where we are heading, Antarctica is the right place to go to. It is the best place to research and understand about mountain ranges and how low elevation continents, ozone and carbon evolution and extinction. It is capable of giving an insight of the future and that can be really startling. How was the Earth 650 years ago? Millions of years ago, there was a supercontinent known as Gondwana, from which Antarctica and India are supposed to have been parted off. The situation, however, was completely different from how it is right now. There were no humans, and the climate was warmer, which gave rise to huge varieties of flora and fauna. Gondwana flourished for about 500 million years until dinosaurs got extinct and human beings came into existence. The huge continent was then forced into segregation to form countries and the world as we know of it today. Now we are having an image of Gondwana breakup. So, once upon a time, some around billion of years ago, there was a supercontinent known as Gondwana, from which Antarctica and India are supposed to have been parted off. The situation, however, was completely different from how it is right now. There were no humans and the climate was warmer, which gave rise to huge varieties of flora and fauna. Gondwana did flourish for about 500 million years until dinosaurs got extinct and human beings came into existence. The huge continent was then forced into separation to form countries and the world as we know it today. So, this picture is showing the breakup. The breakup when Antarctica, when India parted off, and earlier they were part of the same land. Now, before moving further, let us know about meanings of certain words like first one is Cordilleran folds, an extensive chain of mountains or mountain ranges. Precambrian granite shields, large areas of relatively low elevation that form part of the continental masses. Mind boggling, overwhelming, startling, frigid, it means very cold, desolate, uninhabited, surreal, unusual, or bizarre. Austral, relating to the southern hemisphere. Ubiquitous, everywhere. Avalanche, snowslide. Carving, split and shed. Consecrates, make or declare sacred. Immersion, submerge. Prognosis, a forecast of the likely outcome of a situation. It was very different experience of the narrator as being a South Indian sun worshipping person. It was hard for her or anyone else to imagine living in a place where 90% of the total ice volumes are stored. Not only biologically or physically difficult but also for imagination. A place untouched by humans and their invention, it gives an experience that makes you forget about all the other things. From small creatures like midges and mites to huge creatures like blue whales and icebergs as big as countries, everything can be found in Antarctica. Days are never ending with sunlight all the time falling on the southern hemisphere. It is such a quiet place, uninterrupted. Only interruption is the interruption by falling mass of snow rapidly down a mountain. It is a setting, it is an environment that forces you to ponder, to think upon Earth's geological history and helps you foresee future which for humans does not seem very pleasant. The chapter highlights the difference of atmosphere. Earlier, the earth was not like this. Earlier, it was very much good, it was pleasant. But now we can all see that the earth is struggling, the earth is ailing. How it is happening and who is responsible. So, definitely, the reason behind ailing Mother Nature is the human endeavor, human catastrophic efforts, and human who, for their selfish need, targeting Mother Nature and harming it. Human life on Earth has been since petty 12,000 years, which converts into a few seconds on the geological clock. In merely this less time, humans have managed to exploit each and every resource, thereby creating a chaos in the nature. The ever increasing human population is robbing other species of the necessities for survival. Not to forget about the unlimited exploitation of fossil fuels that have created a blanket of carbon dioxide around our planet, which is further increasing the average global temperature and thus leading to global warming. So, human life, which is only in existence for about 12,000 years, and which seems big for us, but if we notice the word geological clock, it is just a small period. In merely this less time, humans have managed to exploit each and every resource, natural resource. And thus, we are moving with our efforts, we are leading to a future of global warming, pollution, and this nature is so much harmed by humans. So, what should be our priority? Our priority nowadays should be to rectify our negative efforts, to nurture, to care about our mother. Children, global warming and climate change are high priority concern these days. Regardless, Antarctica remains an important part not only because it is untouched by humans but also because of the ice core's half million year old carbon records trapped in its layers of ice. According to the author, if anyone wishes to study and analyze Earth's past, present, and future, Antarctica is the place to go. So we can't deny, in fact, it is true, global warming and climate change are high priority concern these days. Questions like melting of Antarctic sheet, disruption of Gulf Stream ocean, and how the world will end still remains unanswered. Regardless, Antarctica remains an important part. Not only because it is untouched by human, but also because of the ice cores, half million old carbon records trapped in its layers of ice. So we have to manage Antarctic sheet which is melting. We have to think about the reasons disruption of Gulf Stream ocean, and we have to think about our future on how the world will end. We have these questions in front of us and we need to find the answers. The author says that if you want to study the Earth's past, present, and future, Antarctica is the right place to go to because it holds your answer. It satisfies your needs of the past. It gives you a glimpse of the present and it makes you able to see your future. Reason for taking student on ice. The author has been in Antarctica on an expedition with student on ice program. The program, it was started with the vision of providing life-changing experiences to the future generation of policy makers. The initiative was introduced by Geoff Green, who got tired of his regular job once he got rich and wanted to give it back in some ways. Earlier, Geoff Green used to take celebrities and rich people to Antarctica, and he wanted to make them learn some lessons from there. But these rich people and celebrities go there for their enjoyment and come back and never ever try to give it to the people, never ever try to inspire the people by their experience they had on Antarctica. So he made a change in the program. He started taking students. He thought that students are the future policy makers and they are in the age when whatever you teach them, they take it in a good spirit, and they are the ones who are capable, highly capable of coming back and then inspiring others to join a mission against negative things that are being done to harm the nature. So this is the reason. The author has been in Antarctica, and that takes young minds. And the reason I have told you, because earlier when Geoff Green used to take rich and influential people, they never realized their duty that they are being taken there on Antarctica to show and to realize the impact of our negative efforts of reaching there. And when the ice sheets are melting, glaciers are melting, we can imagine our future. But they went there but never realized what was happening, and they never got inspired to inspire others. So, this is what inspired Geoff Green to change the program and to include students who are dutiful and who are capable of inspiring others, because they belong to an age when they are curious to learn and give back to the earth, give back to our nature. As I told you, Geoff Green earlier used to take rich and influential people to Antarctica in with a motive that when they come back, they would be inspiring others to join a mission to save Mother Nature and to rectify our negative things. But it was not a success. So he changed the entire program. He started including high school students with a motive to inspire others, and the program, when he included high school students, became a grand success. The program has been immensely successful in implementing its vision. By the way, people get affected by seeing the real scenario, because it is very easy to sit at home and talk about real issues, but actually seeing glaciers retreating and ice shelves collapsing, it gives you a glimpse into the future. It tells you that the very threat of global warming is real. And then when students went there, they realized that although Antarctica is untouched by humans, the human civilization, the human population is not there, but still whatever we do in our different countries, whatever negative things we are doing against nature in our respective countries and cities or whatever it is causing a great deal of negative impact on Antarctica, although it is not being habitated by human population. So we can imagine if Antarctica, a place with 90% of ice, is being affected by our negative efforts, so we need a change. We need to inspire others. So this is the thing that student got from Antarctica, visit to Antarctica, and they started the inspiring others when they come back. The chapter In the chapter, the writer has given us an example and inspired us to do our bit every day. And she has highlighted that every effort count, and she has highlighted that even small things are to be taken care of, because when once we overlook and neglect small things and we don't take care of them, then we have big repercussions. So the writer has given us an example. She says that Antarctica is one of those places with limited biodiversity and thus has a less complicated ecosystem. As a result, little changes in its environment can have drastic effects. For instance, the microscopic phytoplankton are grasses of the sea that sustain the entire Southern Ocean's food chain. Now, it has been recently concluded by scientists that a further depletion in the ozone layer can affect the activities of these single celled plants and affect the marine life altogether. Thus, in this case, The writer has highlighted that microscopic phytoplankton, very small single celled grasses of the sea, that plays a very good role in Southern Ocean's food chain. If it is disturbed, if it does not survive, then the entire food chain is going to be disturbed. And scientists has warned that a small change in our food chain in our environment is going to have a big result on all other things. They have recently warned that further depletion in the ozone layer can affect the activities of these single cell plants and affect the entire marine life altogether. And we must remember each and small thing, big or small things, are very well connected. When this connection breaks, the nature breaks, environment breaks, and our life breaks. So we have to take care of the small things, and then only the big things will fall into place. This is the lesson, this is the moral we should know, that each and everything, even a small plant, even a small grass, has to be taken care of. Otherwise, we will have very great catastrophic results. So, this is the lesson we should learn, and each and every effort counts. And further, the writer describes a great experience she had while walking on the ocean. My Antarctic experience, she says, my Antarctic experience was full of such epiphanies, but the best occurred just short of the Antarctic Circle at 65.55 degrees south. The Shokalski had managed to wedge herself into a thick white stretch of ice between the peninsula and Tadpole Island, which was preventing us from going any further. The captain decided we were going to turn around and head back north. But before we did, we were all instructed to climb down the gangplank and walk on the ocean. So there we were, all 52 of us, kitted out in Gore-Tex and glares, walking on a stark whiteness that seemed to spread out forever. Underneath our feet was a meter-thick ice pack, and underneath that 180 meters of living, breathing, salt water that was sea. In the periphery, crab-eater seals were stretching and sunning themselves on the ice floes, which like stray dogs will do under the shade of a banyan tree. It was nothing short of a revelation. Everything does indeed connect. So this is fantastic experience that she had while walking on the ocean. So the journey to the ends of the world. In the After the program, the writer was really elated to see the spirit of teenagers who still are left with the courage to save the world. There was some concern, like she wondered whether Antarctica would ever be warm again, and how much difference a million years can make in that make and that each day makes a difference. So, presenting you again the summary. Journey to the End of the Earth is a travelogue. The narrator gives an account of her journey to Antarctica under the program Student on Ice led by Geoff Green in the Russian vessel Academic Shokalski. Under this program, high school students are taken to the ends of the world and provided inspiring educational opportunities which will help them to encourage in developing a new understanding and respect for our planet. It provides a student an ample opportunity to understand how global temperature can be a big threat to human existence. It inculcates a new understanding in them. Geoff Green thinks that high school students are the future policy makers. He offers the future generation life changing experience at an age when they are ready to absorb, learn, and most importantly, act, and can help in saving the earth from ecological dangers and the effects of global warming. The author started her journey to the end of the earth to Antarctica, and the purpose of the visit was to know more about Antarctica. The author stayed there for 2 weeks. It is a place which stores 90% of Earth's total ice volume. It has no trees, billboards, or building. The visual scene ranges from the microscopic to the mighty. Days go on in 24-hour austral summer light. Silence pervades everywhere. It is broken only by an avalanche or calving ice sheets. Climate change is one of the most hotly contested environmental debates of our time. But if we want to truly know the climate change and who is responsible, what are the factors responsible, then definitely Antarctica is the place to go. Because when you go there, you realize that West Antarctica ice sheets are melting. So you have the question, will they melt entirely or not? And Antarctica is the place to go as it holds half million year old carbon records trapped in its layers of ice. It has a simple ecosystem and lacks of biodiversity. It is a perfect place to study how little changes in the environment can have big repercussions. Scientists warn that a further depletion of the ozone layer will affect the lives of sea animals and birds in the region, and it will also affect the global carbon cycle. And the burning of fossil fuels has polluted the atmosphere has so much that it has created a blanket of carbon dioxide around the world, and the global temperature is increasing. The author gives us an example of phytoplankton microscopic grass. The phytoplankton are single celled plants. They nourish the entire southern ocean's food chain. They are using the sun's energy to assimilate carbon and supply oxygen. Any further depletion in the ozone layer may affect this functioning and indirectly affect the lives of all marine life and indirectly affect the lives of all people of all of the world. When the author returned, she still wondered about the beauty of the balance. And she had certain questions, and she has the responsibility of inspiring others. And the chapter highlights the importance of our contribution to save environment, to save Mother Nature, and to be a good contributor towards our environmental practices. With this, the chapter ends. I hope you understood. Elevate yourself with Rama's Arjun. Thank you for watching.